You've been doing this for over 2 decades. How has the field changed, or has it? Today there's Gen X, Gen Z, there's different terms. Has it remained the same? Has it changed? What's your experience?
We only have a few minutes.
We don't have 20 years.
It is. The business changed tremendously from the time I went to school to today. It is really a great time to be in this business because everything is so accessible. And everything is so much easier to achieve and to maintain. You don't have to do huge research to find just the right item. It is so easy today. I don't have to tell you about all the tools that are accessible today for people to research. As far as the actual work, the rendering, and I remember, I'm dating myself, but we did it by hand.
Right.
We did color rendering by hand. Today you have
those AD markers.
Today you have every type of crayons. We had watercolor rendering, and we had pastels rendering, and then we had ink rendering. Today it's no one does it.
Right.
Everything is done on
Computer,
the many
3D,
programs, the 3D, and it's so much easier to present a design because you see it in a 3D rendering that is photo quality.
Yeah.
You sometimes don't know if you're looking at a rendering or you're looking at a real photo. So it is so much easier today. And just the speed of things. You can get samples overnight. We have a huge library in our own office of any sample. If we never left our office, we could work for a year without having to go anywhere, just because we are so well stocked with every new sample. And also the new stuff. They send you an email. We have a new line. Before we had to wait for the salesman to come. I get emails every day. I tell my secretary, here, something new. Let's order a sample. And this happens every single day.
Has there been any changes that you could discuss about the physical appearance within a company, meaning the interior design from within? Not just on your end in terms of efficiency, in terms of the build, in terms of the creativity, but in terms of the execution. Are there any differences? Like, are interior spaces designed differently today than they were 10, 20 years ago?
Oh, for sure. We count on it. We count on things changing much more rapidly than that because that's what keeps us in business. This is an industry that is constantly changing.
So now the question is, how do you and your team stay on your toes, keep yourselves informed? How do you stay up to date on the latest trends?
On your toes the whole time.
Got you.
Literally. And my team is so great. Like, I sometimes would forget that maybe we use something. It looks familiar, an item, and they would say, oh, no, we just used it. I said, when? A week ago. So that's it. It's obsolete. We're not touching it anymore.
Now, we touched on this question earlier, but I still would like to come back to it now in a slightly different way. What are some of the common interior design mistakes that you've seen over the years?
So a major mistake is when people in this industry follow trends to a T. Mm-hmm. So if a certain color is in style, you walk into a space and it's all that color. And every other room and every other space is all that color. We have been through a gray trend now, and it is sad to see how much gray is used. And gray is not a happy color.
Right.
It's okay to use something that's trendy, but balance it with something that is happy. So people use trends without versatility. That's a huge mistake. Another mistake is, and that has nothing to do with design, but it is related to design, is people going to projects without a budget. When you start something and you have no idea what the owner's budget is, you're going to run into trouble. You're going to be halfway there, and you used his money, and how are we going to finish? So
it's a great point. I mean that a creative firm has to be aware of I call it the runway space. What's that budget in place?
Right.
And then you'll work with them in terms of maximizing their availability.
Right.
But if you don't know what that is, then you could wind up burning through it and you're done.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I'm going to ask a question now that's an interesting question. The last time I think I asked it was in one of the heads of a creative agency that I interviewed a couple of months ago. And that is, I love asking this question also because of the space that we're in. What happens when you're presenting something to a client and you know it's a fantastic presentation, and you know that your head is wired and it's so that you're envisioning the outcome and you know it's going to be amazing, but the client is pushing back, and I'll say it straight, they're being unreasonable, like they're just like, this is not creative, and you know it is. How do you navigate that?
So the best thing is not to tell them they're wrong.
Okay.
If this is their opinion, it comes from somewhere. So you have to understand that maybe they know something, or maybe their taste level is not exactly what yours is, and maybe you didn't, even with all the understanding that you try to have before you start a project, sometimes you're not on the same page. So the first thing is to really have a discussion about what exactly in the total picture is bothering them or they don't like, and suggest changes. And the interesting part is when you go through this process with a client, 9 out of 10 times we come back to the original design.
Wow, fascinating.
And they agree with you that this is the best way.
But you have to get
9 out of 10. But you have to go through the process. And what we also like to do, which helps in that, is to give choices. Give at least 2 or 3 choices
I was going to
for
ask
every,
you about that. Yeah.
because people like to feel that they are in control of what they are doing, and they are choosing it. They don't see the process. They don't see that we looked at 15 different items before we came up with the perfect one that we feel will fit like a piece in the puzzle. But when you give them choices, it helps them make a decision.
I know we touched on this earlier, but I just want to quickly come back to it. Act 2 Interiors, and of course you can go visit their website, act2interiors.com. That's act and the number 2interiors.com. You specialize in design and build, and we talked about it that you oversee the project from start through completion, and all the advantages that affords a client. The fact that it's maintenance free to them, and that you ensure that what you envisioned on the outset and what you presented actually happens and is executed. So I guess a question is, I imagine coast to coast that could be a little challenging, or
it is really difficult to do it long distance. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned that we give the option to the client. They can hire us for design only. They can hire us for design and build. Many people have a relationship with a contractor or a builder that they want to maintain. We really don't have an issue with that. We work with whoever they have in place. So when it comes to long distance, we try very hard to suggest that they hire local people. Right. And we will travel from time to time to oversee the project and communicate with the workers in the field through all the technical ways that are available to us today. And that is many times good enough.
Shifra, I can't thank you enough for joining me here on this edition of tonight's edition of Mind Your Business. Any final takeaways for the listeners of the show?
So I hope that I was able to convey to listeners, the importance of well-designed spaces, how it helps in the workplace, how it helps the healing process, how it helps the bottom line, which is your famous line.
Right, thank you.
And how it improves people's lives where they live, where they work, and where they heal. And we feel fortunate that we can have such an impact in people's life. We really feel that we better and we improve the way people feel about themselves, about their productivity and work, and about their healing, which is a huge, huge thing. So we feel lucky.
I love the honor of interviewing C-level executives and sharing their great advice and perspective on Mind Your Business. I'd love to get your feedback. Post it in the comments below and subscribe. You'll never miss an edition of Mind Your Business.